Well, that's what's happening now. We've gone too far with Russia, with Ukraine. And I said earlier, this is all connected, and it is. And they're walking away from the dollar. Now, it's not that difficult to launch a payment currency because you accept this currency and you think you can spend it somewhere else. But if you expand the group to 20 countries, see, if China exports high-tech equipment to Russia and takes rubles in return, what are they going to do with the rubles? They can only spend it in Russia. And that's the same is true of any bilateral trading relationship. If it's only two countries, you can't. What's Russia going to do with rupees for the oil they send to India? How much curry do you need? That's the problem. It's almost like barter. But if you expand the group, it's like, oh, I get BRICS currency from China for exporting energy, but I can spend my BRICS currency in Argentina for wheat, and Argentina can spend their BRICS currency in Saudi Arabia for oil. That works. Now
It's like a loyalty program, isn't it? At a global
just
scale.
about, yeah. You got to fly certain airlines to cash in your miles, but that's why the airlines form these syndicates like One World. You got 15 airlines, not one. That's a very good analogy. But here's the key. Here's the missing link. Okay, you can make a payment currency, expand the BRICS, back with gold, make a payment currency. Can it be a reserve currency? Because I've been the one saying that, well, first of all, there is a difference, and you can't have a reserve currency without a bond market, because no one holds the currency in paper notes in the basement of the central bank. You got to put it into securities. Do you have the securities market? None of the countries have a securities market of that size. But then I said, I had one of these aha moments. I said, you could actually create it out of thin air by selling BRICS denominated bonds to your own people. You don't need Larry Fink and BlackRock and who's got Mark Carney and all these people to buy your currency or buy your bonds. Sell them to your own people. And the United States did this in 1917 in World War I with the Liberty Bond drive. Woodrow Wilson invented it. But every city in America in 1917, they had parades. You were not a patriot. You were not a patriot if you didn't buy Liberty bonds to support the war effort. By the way, look at the formation dates of E.F. Hutton, Dean Witter, Merrill Lynch. Was right around the teens, right between 1910 and 1920. That was the beginning of retail investing in the United States. Good. Prior to that, it had been a pro market. And if you're a Brazilian or you're an Argentinian, wouldn't you rather have a BRICS denominated bond instead of an Argentinian peso bond? I mean, you might want a US bond, but you can't always get them. So this thing is coming faster than people. No one's expecting this. I've written about it. By the way, the article I talked about, and thank you for preparing your video, and it was sort of published in a bridge form. It was picked up the other day by Russian state media. I had nothing to do with it. They just thought it was interesting. But all of a sudden, that's reaching 1 billion people. So this is in the air. Who doesn't know about it? The Fed, ECB, Bank of England, the G7 finance ministers. They don't see this coming.
I just want to alert everyone to an important video that you've just recorded that will not be available to the public. Here, you discuss the upcoming geopolitical shockwave of what you call the most significant development in international finance since 1971. But then you explain how anyone can position themselves to profit from this crisis. Our viewers can access that video at londonreal.tv/Jim, and I highly recommend that everyone go watch that immediately after our conversation, and that's going to be very detrimental to them.
Correct, because if I'm Russia or China and I have BRICS currency through trade channels and it's linked to gold, do I want the price of gold to go up or down? I want it to go up because that makes me richer. But the price of gold, to the extent it's denominated in dollars, if they're strengthening or raising the price of gold, what's happening to the dollar? It's going down. And there was an increase in the dollar price of gold. It's not really a change in the price of gold. It's a devaluation of the dollar. It's not about gold. It's about the dollar. So that's going to be extremely inflationary.
Wow.
And this thing could feed on itself very quickly.
And really push an already fragile situation.
Correct.
Wow.
One that I warned the Treasury and the Pentagon about it 10 years ago, and they're like, "Thank you, Jim," and ignored it.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I guess they probably won't now. And it's fascinating how, like you said, you hit the bag too many times. And I think when you saw the currency censorship going on with Russia after Ukraine war, where basically anybody who owned dollars no longer did. I mean, was that the straw that broke the camel's back, do you think, at the end of the day?
Yeah, I think that's right. and I love, we just got through this debt ceiling debate in the United States, a couple of weeks ago, and you were, referred to that briefly. But the argument, the political argument, we got to raise the debt ceiling because the U.S. has never defaulted on its debt. We have to raise the debt ceiling. We can't default on the debt. I was just laughing. I said, we default on our debt all the time. What do you think happened to Russia? They had $150 billion of U.S. Treasury securities and digital book entry. They're not paper. The Treasury froze those securities. Okay, if I buy a bond and you don't pay me principal and interest, that's a default. You can call it what you want, but we're not paying the principal and interest to Russia, so we defaulted on those bonds. Now, if you're S&P or Moody's, you can call it a selective default. Okay, the U.S. is saying, "Oh, pay no attention to that 150 billion. We'll pay the rest of you people." Really? Why should you believe that when they just froze Russia? So we defaulted on Treasury securities owned by the Central Bank of Russia. How else can you describe it?
Wow, that's a strong statement, especially coming from you, Jim, who's been in the capital markets for a long time. I never thought.
Well, I can go on. The U.S. is actually the master of default. We do it all the time. Inflation, et cetera. We just have different ways of doing it.
Hey, it's Brian Rose, founder of the DeFi Academy. I've told you my 4-week crypto bootcamp is amazing, but don't take my word for it. This is what my students are saying.
The DeFi Academy was an amazing experience for me. It took me totally out of my comfort zone.
In this course, I was challenged, I was held accountable, and pushed to do things that honestly weren't always easy.
It's been phenomenal, and I can't believe we're already up on our 4 weeks. It has flown by.
Going through this DeFi accelerator by far was one of the best courses I've taken.
You do this course, you really get into the nitty-gritty of the activities that will make you comfortable with decentralized finance.
Thank you so much to Brian and everyone at London Real and the DeFi Academy for even putting together an amazing course like this.
Anybody else that wants to do it, please sign up. It is well worth the money.